Hi, welcome to BioStock. Cereno Scientific is developing treatments against the #1 killer in the world, cardiovascular disease. The company has just received the approval by the European Medicines Agency to go into a phase 1 first-in-human clinical trial with their candidate CS014. Here to tell us all about it is Cereno's CEO, Sten Sörensen. Welcome, Sten.
Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. Well, first of all, just for some context, CS014 is a so-called HDAC inhibitor. Could you explain what that means exactly?
Well, HDAC inhibitors are a drug class that have epigenetic modulation capacities. And what we mean with epigenetic is outside of interfering in the actual gene structure. Mm-hmm. So genetic structure is the DNA that has the map for production of the essential proteins that govern and run the body, if you will. And epigenetic modulators are actually regulating how that production takes place. So there are a number of drug classes that has this capacity of epigenetic modulation. HDAC inhibition is one of those classes, and we are pursuing that for cardiovascular disease as a pioneering biotech company.
So in the context of cardiovascular disease, why is this drug specifically so promising?
Well, when we did a review around this, so we started the company with one concept in mind by Professor Sverker Jern, which was prevention of thrombosis, the biggest killer on the planet, blood clots, because it has capacity in that field. But we then did a review of all the literature around HDAC inhibition, and specifically our VPA molecule that we have in our lead program, CS1. And we found 600 articles, around 600 articles, published documentation that this HDAC inhibition with our molecule has very interesting capacity that has applications for and could be very promising for treating cardiovascular diseases. And those characteristics can be concluded as being pressure reduction capacity, anti-inflammatory capacity, anti-fibrotic capacity, and anti-thrombotic capacity. And in addition, a capacity to remodel structures of the heart and the vessels that have been changed over time by disease or age. So in cardiovascular disease, that happens. So fibrotic development maybe through inflammation as a start, leads to stiffer vessels, higher blood pressure, and eventually a failing heart or thrombosis as consequences. If you have a drug that can impact these characteristics, you have something by definition very promising. And we actually have 2 programs in this field now.
Well, that actually brings me to my next question. You mentioned the other program, CS1, that's your lead program, currently in phase 2 of development. How is CS014 different from CS1?
Well, CS1 is an existing molecule that's been in, it was discovered 1884, I think, so a long time ago. It's been in man for prevention of epilepsy, actually, for around 60 years. But it hasn't been discovered to and not developed for cardiovascular disease. So, but we are doing that, and the reason we are doing that is what I just explained, that there is so much documentation behind what this drug can do in various aspects of cardiovascular disease that humans and patients deserve to have this drug developed to create value for them. And we are doing that. So it's an existing molecule that we have developed into a formulation that's very unique. That is CS1, that's the drug. CS014 is being developed as a follow-on strategy for Cereno, the biotech pioneering company here in this field, because we believe that you need another drug to capture more potential for patients and for the market, for the company and shareholders. So developing a novel chemical entity that has some changes to the original molecule that we believe is improving that molecule for the patients in need.
So potentially CS014 is even better than CS1,
yeah, that's
you could
our
say.
belief, yes.
Yeah? Okay, well, now that you've received the clinical trial application approval by the European Medicines Agency, what steps need to be taken before this trial can begin?
Well, we are super excited about this approval by CTA for this new drug. We've spent 5 years since we put this strategy together. We made a deal with the group that came with the idea to us, Emeriti Bio at Astra's BioHub, our neighbor there. And we bought the idea from them, and we have pursued 5 years of very hard work, and we submitted a file that was somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 pages to the regulatory authorities, and which includes all of the rationale plus the documentation behind this drug to show that it's safe and it has a good principle to be applied to humans to study it and document the benefits, safety, tolerance, and benefits. So with regards to this study now, we're moving from the preclinical phase into the clinical phase. It's a major step for any biotech and any drug. And in that first step, you study safety and tolerance in volunteers. So not patients, but volunteers. And this is in order to document safety and tolerance, and also pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, how the drug actually behaves in the system of the body. So the next step is actually, you cannot ship your drug to the study site until you get this letter of approval. So that shipment has been sent to the site, and also the site then can advertise that they are looking for patients. So that also has happened. And then, of course, the patient will come into the study site and eventually be included in the study and get the first patient dose then.
Do you already know when this first patient will be dosed?
No, I don't. So, but you know, I'm keeping my eyes out, and we all should do that. I think that would be very good news for us, right? So, a novel drug candidate in man for the first time.
We're looking forward to that news, absolutely. Well, as alluded to, this now means you have two candidates in the clinic at the moment, CS1, CS014. Why is this such a significant step for Cereno?
Well, there are various levels here. So one thing is that we believe this concept, HDAC inhibition, has a great potential in cardiovascular disease. And in order to capture maximum potential here, we believe that we should pursue two drugs. The first one is a repurposing of an older drug into an orphan disease, PAH. It has its certain commercial advantages and protections, such as orphan drug designation in various markets that you can obtain. We have it in the US and we're pursuing it in Europe. So that's very good for that orphan disease. But if you want to pursue broader, major indications and potentially other orphan diseases, you pursue another drug. And for that reason, we have pursued CS014. And of course, you optimize that drug if you do so. So from a strategic point of view, capturing potential, broadening indications, but also, if you are a biotech, you need more than one leg to stand on. So I think that by itself is a protection of a company such as ours. In addition, two drugs in a HDAC inhibition field, considering that the first drug, hopefully here in the orphan disease, will be positive, we already have a second one in the clinic. If you're discussing with potential partners, they of course will look at what does this company have. The first interest might be for the phase 2 drug when that trial has been reported, but potentially there will be interest for a portfolio of HDAC inhibitors and for companies that want to explore and grab this potential in the market.
Well, you mentioned that CS1 is being evaluated in pulmonary arterial hypertension, PAH, as you said. Have you decided on an indication for CS014?
Not a specific indication. So we have said that we are pursuing this for thrombosis prevention because in the preclinical studies and documentation, we have been able to document that it prevents thrombosis in models that are very translatable to man. We've also been able to document so that's efficacy. But we've also been able to document what everybody is looking for in the market. And the market is going to hit $46 billion US dollars per year in sales in 2028. So it's a major market. And what everybody is looking for is, of course, efficacy, but also less risk. And bleeding risk is something that all drugs on the market today have, antiplatelets and anticoagulants. So we've been able to document in animals so far that we don't have that bleeding risk. So, and then, of course, such a drug would be both very beneficial for the healthcare community and the patients, and also very successful.
And well, I can't let you go without asking what are some of the main milestones that you're looking forward to in the coming months, not only with CS014 but also with CS1?
I'll wait with that answer until I complete it, because I forgot to mention that. So we haven't picked a specific thrombosis indication yet. So we are considering both general indications and potentially orphan indications. That hasn't been decided yet. And what one should also know is that we believe that CS014 will have this disease-modifying capacity, and many indications beyond thrombosis prevention would benefit from such a drug. So there might be expansion possibilities beyond thrombosis prevention for that drug. Now, back to...
I'm glad you expanded on that.
Back to your question. Please repeat it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was, of course, you have, now you have two candidates in the clinic. What are some of the major milestones that you're looking forward to with both of these candidates?
Well, the first one is, we alluded to that, so it's obviously to get the first patient dosed now and get the study really running. For CS014, and I estimate that will not take too long time. The center is ready, and we are ready, and the drug is there, and so on. So that should shortly be up and running. But of course, the major milestone is CS1 and delivery of top-line data in that one. And we have communicated, and I restated here, that we target to deliver this in Q3.
Great. Well, we're definitely looking forward to that, and we wish you all the best with those results. And thank you so much, Sten, for joining me and for this interview.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.